Hey everybody, my name is Kevin at Datakun, and this is a financial lifestyle channel. I was doing some reflecting today, and specifically about outgrowing things in your life. And today I really want to talk about the things that God has been doing in my life as of late, the last 6 months, and having me to outgrow certain things, and then how I am adjusting and reacting to those things. Let's go back to November 2023, around Thanksgiving. My beloved car was stolen. My 2015 Lexus GS 350 F Sport, fully paid off, and it was stolen from my residence, a place where I live, I sleep, I pay parking fees to park this car here. But, God has such a miraculous way of allowing such a prosperous thing to come about, losing things. And that's what I want to kind of talk about today, is when you outgrow things. And I'm not always aware when I outgrow things, but I am aware when I look back in hindsight how God was moving certain things for me to then elevate and take certain actions going forward. So like I said, my car was fully paid off, and financial wise, right? Like set, right? Like gas, insurance, maintenance, all that came out of a specialized auto account. Never had to worry about that car. My vision for that car was to drive it till the wheels fall off. And it was in very, very good condition. But it was interesting when that car was stolen, God provided me a new vision. And that vision required that I make certain changes to my lifestyle. And so at that time, I had a significant other. And when my car was stolen, that put a strain on the relationship. And I'm not going to go that deep into it, but let me kind of break it down. Like, she's not with me because of my car, but it created a strain when it came to comfortability. It came to reliability, dependency, just overall comfort, right? And I get it, I understand. But at the same time, I was hoping that there would be some reciprocity to say like, hey, I can't do certain things the way I used to do them or how I regularly do them during this down period. I'm looking for you to kind of pick up the slack a little bit. And that wasn't the case. So that was one of the things that God did, was he said, that relationship, we're going to move that out of the way, right? We're going to open you up. Because one of the things that came about was like when God was showing me the vision of what to do with this stolen car, he was showing me like what my next car would be. And by the way, my next car is going to be a Mercedes GLE AMG 63S. And when God was kind of breaking down the vision for that, I remember telling her, and she said something like out loud, which was like, so where do I fit in? Like, what about us? And what she said out loud is what I was already thinking inside of myself when I had this vision from God. And it was hard because it was like, there is no more us. Like, you don't fit into my future and where I'm going. And that's not what I particularly wanted, but I'm going to move about according to what thus saith the Lord to me in that particular season. And right now it's like, you could be here. I can't definitively say that you're not part of my future, but the instructions that I have right now are to focus on building my portfolio and getting myself into a certain position to be able to have accessibility and availability for higher decisions. And right now, you being part of my life is not necessarily necessary for that to actually occur. So that relationship dissolved. Another thing that came into play was basically God saying like, you're possibly going to have to be changing locations, right? And it's kind of funny because like one of the things that God brought to mind was Abraham, or Abram at that time. He was in a position where he's in old age. He's like 80 or whatever. He's married, no children, lots of wealth. He's in his father's land. And God tells him like, I want to take you to a new place, a new thing where your children are going to outnumber the stars, right? And that's how I kind of felt with this car situation. It was the catalyst of God saying, you've outgrown this lifestyle, and I had to remove something or allow something to be removed for it to trigger certain events. So at that particular time, when it came to transportation, I've always loved the metro. I live in the DMV area, and it was funny because I remember prior to that time, I was like, yo, I've been taking the metro in a while. Well, now I don't have a choice, right? I'm taking the train, I'm taking the bus, but I'm loving it. I'm loving the free time that comes with it. I'm loving the ability to relax, not participate in the chaos day in and day out of going to work and whatnot. It also slowed me down a little bit because now I have to be more meticulous about my time. And also I have more of accessibility to people, right? When I used to just, especially going to work, just going to and fro, it's just me. But when you're on public transportation, now you're looking at it from the aspect of, I have access to all these different people, you know what I mean? And it's just, it's kind of interesting. Another thing that came about it was like this huge windfall of money. They didn't recover my vehicle, so the insurance had to pay it out. And then, so all I did was just take that money, save it and invest it, basically. I didn't have, the gas, the insurance, the maintenance to have to take care of anymore. So God was also showing me, this is how you're going to readjust your budget to account for that windfall and take advantage of this time. And it's something that when I look back on, I'm thankful. Obviously when my car was stolen, like that hurt me a lot, right? I'm not fixated on the car itself. Obviously I thank God for my life, but it's just the fact that somebody took something from me that I earned, right? That I worked hard for. That car was fully paid off, $45,000. I had the title, what I mean? Like there was a whole plan to say, like, I'm going a certain direction. But when you outgrow things, there's times when like things that you don't expect to happen will happen. But God will give you the instructions of how to navigate, how to pivot. Just don't fight it, And I'm glad that I was in a certain place where I didn't fight it. I'm glad I was in a certain place that I really took that time to be able to grieve, but also be able to heal and be able to reconnect with God and said, okay, I know that you have a bigger plan. What is next for me? And so what I want to say to you is just be very cognizant that a lot of times when it comes to outgrowing things, you're going to see things removed and you're going to see new opportunities arise on the horizon. The question is, are you going to make yourself available to be able to access those things? If you keep holding on to the old things, you keep holding on to the old lifestyles, like you're going to find a conflict where you're eventually going to have to pick one versus the other, right? Imagine a conflict of, do I pick this new lifestyle or do I pick my significant other? It's tough. And sometimes you don't have that answer until you're in that position, right? To have to make that decision. But all you can do is just trust in the Lord. All you can do is just communicate as best as you can to those around you to say, I've outgrown this thing. Now, be mindful that what you receive from God in terms of a vision or prophecy or whatever is not what God has given to other people. And so, yes, at that time, a lot of people were saying, oh, okay, like the insurance paid you out. What car are you getting into next? What are you going to do now? Like, this is a, very, very minor bump in the road for you. But I was like, God is not telling me to get the car now, right? God is more so giving me like a 3-year plan here, a 3-year runway. And that doesn't fit with other people. People are like, okay, I get it. You had a rental car, you took the metro. I couldn't do that long term. And they're answering correctly and honestly, like you can't, but I can. I can get it out of the mud. And that was one of the messages God kept reiterating to me was, you want to get it out the mud, right? And that mud is relative because it's like, it's not a punishment. It's not something to put me down and humble me. It's something to say like the diamonds are in the mud, literally. And everybody doesn't want to touch it because nobody wants to get dirty. But once you discover the diamonds, then everybody's drawn to that attention. But you're like, you weren't with me when I was digging in the mud. So I had to be put in the mud so that things and situations naturally fell off, naturally eradicated themselves from my space, from my influence, from my attention. And so when it comes to outgrowing things, like, embrace it. It's such a gift from God when you outgrow things. And so God was telling me overall, you're going to attain a lifestyle beyond your wildest dreams. And you've done good. You've been faithful with the little. Now I can show you how you can be faithful with the much. And so I am showing you my timing. And I'm also giving you a testimony like I am today to share with people and to encourage people, right? That God's ways are not my way. I wouldn't have expected to lose my car. If anything, I'm like, I could have sold my car, right? But I also know myself too, like, I would have resisted that. So, long story short, always be open to what God is doing in your life and how he's showing you how you're outgrowing things. That's the positive thing. You're also entering into a season of discomfort, letting go of what's comfortable. Too many people, especially people in the body of Christ, hold on to what's comfortable. It works, and it's supposed to work for a season. That season was coming to an end. I didn't know that season was coming to an end at that time, but what I did know was that God was inserting different signs and influences across the time. Like I said, like I was thinking about, taking the metro again. I was like, okay, once I ride this car, once the wheels fall, like, what do I want to ride next? What do I want to drive? Where do I want to live? You see, like, all those things came from that one singular event. And now, at the time of recording, this is what, May 2024, it's like 6 months. And I get to stand before you and say, like, it's working out pretty good. So stay tuned for more updates. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.